I've been in the military, close to 15 years now, and I've been transgender my whole life.
Army Major Jamie Henry kept her gender identity hidden for years. She joined the Army Medical Corps 15 years ago, enlisting as a man, James Henry. But inside, she knew she was a woman.
Much of it inner turmoil that I couldn't express or share with my colleagues.
She wanted to transition from a man to a woman, but didn't dare reveal this secret to anyone in the military.
Your psychiatrist said as recently as October that you were unfit for duty.
Yes.
How devastating was that, to hear something like that?
Just even mentioning this to anyone, I could lose my job. I want to serve the country. I wanted to deploy. I'd been in since I was 17. This is my chosen profession. I want to serve.
This is done.
4 years after Don't Ask, Don't Tell ended, the military still officially disqualifies anyone who reports psychosexual conditions, including transsexualism and transvestism. But the American Medical Association last month said that there is no medically valid reason to exclude transgender people from military service.
As a woman, does this feel natural for you?
It does. The most natural I've ever felt in my life, really.
Really?
Yeah.
Major Henry is the first active duty Army officer to publicly come forward as transgender. But she is not alone. There are an estimated 15,500 transgender service members in the military, according to the Williams Institute at UCLA, making it the largest employer of transgender people in the U.S.
Transgender people are more than twice as likely to serve in the armed forces than the general population.
Former Navy pilot Bryn Tannehill is the director at Sparta, where service members, partners, and allies for respect and tolerance for all. She transitioned after leaving the service in 2010.
Well, it's essentially very much like Don't Ask, Don't Tell. You have people who are hiding. You have people who, if they do come out, can be discharged administratively, lose their pensions.
Do a lot of transgender people feel like they've served their country, but the country is kind of turning its back on them?
It feels unfair. These are people who are continuing to serve and want to continue to serve and are fighting to continue to serve, despite the fact that they're having to hide themselves, despite the fact that they're being labeled as something less than their fellow service members, yet still they continue to believe in the United States, in the military, in their jobs.
Advocates say the pressure transgender troops are under to hide their gender identity can take a huge emotional toll.
Being trans is wrong.
In June, Sergeant Jess Ships committed suicide 2 years after leaving the Air Force to transition into a woman. Friends say she left the military because she couldn't tolerate living a double life.
How does her story represent what a lot of other people like her are facing?
The stress of transition, the stress of losing your job. Jess left the military so that she could transition as well.
I mean, she was just filled with joy. I mean, she made people happy. Someone who is just the most hilarious people you'll ever meet, but inside just dealing with just a lot of deep, dark feelings.
According to the Williams Institute at UCLA, 41% of transgender people have attempted suicide, which is 9 times more than the general public. As the community continues to mourn, groups want to see change come faster.
It makes me want to ensure things change and push for that change as quickly as possible. Then making sure that our people don't give up hope, that we're near the finish line.
And that finish line may be in sight. This year, the U.S. Armed Forces issued new guidelines which provide stricter scrutiny of these discharges.
Together, we've been able to do more to protect the rights of lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender Americans than at any time in our history.
Last month, for the first time, President Obama hosted 6 transgender service members at the White House for the LGBT Pride Month reception.
We were invited and told to wear and given authorization to wear the uniform that conforms with our gender identity. It felt good. It felt very, very good to be able to actually be myself and be in uniform at the same time, because the rest of my time in uniform, I wasn't being myself.
And for Army Major Jamie Henry, lifting the ban will finally allow her to be herself too.
As I'm coming out, I'm like, oh my God, they might be accepting, transgender service members. I'm like, I'll have my career back. I can just be like any other doctor in the military. Like that that is incredible to me.
Although Tannehill has been retired from the Navy for more than 5 years, she dreams to one day return.
When you look back at this, I mean, what do you remember? What do you think of?
Honest answer? I miss flying pretty much every day, and that flying is just about the most fun thing you can do with your clothes on. I miss flying. I miss it a lot.
Jonathan Betts, Al Jazeera, Washington.